if you don't see measurable results, you're just doing what liberals do. They create these programs. They say what the program is capable of doing. They implement the program. They pay all these people this money to be a part of the program and these nice salaries. And they say they're doing this about the less fortunate and the people in the urban core. You never see any results. They can't show you any results. They can only say they're doing something, but you have to have measurable results. Otherwise, if you're doing what they do, ultimately you're just creating jobs for your friends and family, okay? And let me tell you who else they're creating jobs for. They're creating jobs for all these liberal kids that go to these universities majoring in gender studies and diversity studies, et cetera, which you can't even get a job with those degrees, okay? Unless another liberal that starts a 501c3 or some corporation is able to give you a job working in those fields, because those fields are irrelevant. Race, if it's about race as far as what the liberals have presented, blaming racism, blaming systemic racism, blaming the so-called legacy of slavery, blaming the so-called legacy of Jim Crow, that's horseshit. I won't get behind that. I won't support anything like that. But if you want to talk about what's really causing these problems, okay, and then we can have that conversation. Because if we talk about what's really causing these problems, we can create something that can actually give us measurable results, okay? And so, for example, they'll see in single, inner city, black, female that has 1 or 2 kids, and they'll say, and obviously and they're living in poverty, and the kids are failing in school, and they say that's a legacy of slavery. That's a result of the legacy of slavery. That's bullshit. Because, as I said on a previous video, the legacy of slavery, the so-called legacy of slavery, is not sitting in your house, in your mind, anywhere, telling you to make bad decisions, telling you not to work hard. Okay? It's not omnipresent. It's not a God. Okay? So, or the God. So what I'm saying is this. People find themselves, like you and me, in situations, in a position because of their choices or the lack thereof. Okay? Because of their work ethic or the lack thereof. Results are not prevented because of racism. Results are prevented because people believe in racism. And them believing in this systemic racism gives that non-existent systemic racism power. Okay? And the proof of that is very simple, and we can go into detail, is look at all the successful non-white people in America. Okay? So obviously, a systemically racist society isn't going to allow that many people to fall through the cracks and be successful. A systemically racist country is going to keep every so-called minority down. Period. You're not going to have millions of people, millions and millions, tens of millions of people that are non-white being successful in a country that's systemically racist. So that right there in itself kills that whole concept of systemic racism, legacy of slavery, and so on and so forth. Okay? There's nothing separating the successful black guy from the non-successful black guy other than work ethic and decision making. You understand what I'm saying? They can say, well, he grew up in the urban core. I don't give a damn. Because everybody has a viable mind, and that viable mind can make the decision to do right or to do wrong, to work hard or not to work hard, to participate in drug abuse or not to participate in drug abuse. See, if you think that people aren't capable of doing that, then I don't think you have much belief in God and his power. Because I tell people all the time, God has given us all very viable minds. We have strong, viable minds, okay? And your mind, just like his mind or her mind, has the ability to decide and to pick and choose the outcomes that they want, okay? But do you complicate that by making bad decisions? Well, quite possibly, you could do that. People do it every day. So at the end of the day, I'm just simply saying that it's decision making that determines who's successful and who's not. Are some people born into bad families? Yes. Are some people born into families that subscribe to lies and deceit? Yes. Are some people born into poverty? Yes. But you have people of all races born into poverty. You have people of all races born into families where they don't talk about education and having trades and having a work ethic. You see what I'm saying? And here's what we know. Most times, many times, quite often, regardless of race, if you're born into that family, you're not going to get the results that these liberals think you should get. And then they will turn around and blame it on the legacy of slavery, okay? And of course, you have kids that come from good families, good family structures. They're taught all the right things and they fail, okay? While one or two of the other kids in that family don't fail. Obviously, the kids that failed made the choice not to adhere to the principles and the values bestowed upon them by their parents.